Hi, in this video I'm going to demonstrate how to install a wall trellis as a decorative feature on your wall. But as you can see, this one has been painted, and now what we're going to do is we are now going to go and paint all the raw trellises before we install them on the wall. Right over here you can see the trellis is getting painted with a primer, a white primer, and then you can cover it with any color of your choice. Right, so I've measured the distance between the trellises, and now all I need to do is install them. Right, I'm going to show you two methods to put these trellises up. The first method is using a drill. So there I've got some wall plugs, nylon plugs, and the screws. You can also use these ones, and I recommend you use washers if you're going to use the drilling in method. Obviously you're going to need the drill. Here is a screwdriver. The other method requires just nails and a hammer, and that method I'll do second. And lastly you'll need a spirit level. Right, so I'm now ready to drill. I've put the bit on, which can be used for wood, and there is my nylon plug and my screw, and all I need now is to just confirm that the bit is slightly wider than the threads, because you want the screw to slide in there quite easily. Right, so now I just drill here on the corner, just keeping in mind there is often a staple which joins both these pieces of wood together, so don't drill into the staple, drill near it. And as you can see, the screw can go in and out freely, and now I can do the other three holes. And I'm now using a masonry bit because I'm going to be drilling in the wall, and I just confirmed the width of the bit and the nylon plug is the same. As you can see, they are matched. Now I just need to mark it off on the wall and drill the holes. Right, so I've worked it out that that's the correct line, and all I need to do is drill the hole. So I see it's there, so I just shift it to the side, and I'm now going to drill. Insert the plug. Now what I do is I like to use a washer. Now one of the things you need to be aware of is if you see that that goes through the wood, it shortens the length of the screw. So it's better to use a screw that's slightly longer. As you can see, the longer one is going to be suitable here. And now I just tighten it with a screwdriver. Right, now as you can see, this thing can still move, and there's a reason for that. Is I'm going to use this as the template to drill the other three holes. Now what I've done is I've taken the normal bit out and put a much smaller one, and I'm going to use that to drill pilot holes. Right, now as you can see, this is face brick, so it's quite easy to know the line because I just follow the line of the brick. But if this was a plaster wall, there you can see I just use the spirit level and I just drill the pilot hole. Remember, the bit for the pilot hole is much smaller and it fits easily through the hole that we've pre-drilled for the screw. And if you want, just while you wait, you can just put a screw in there just to hold this up while you drill the other two holes. Now here's a useful tip. You see, before I drill a hole, just press this down. And the reason why you press this down is, can you see how this is warped? Been in the shop for long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push this down and then almost pull on it, then drill the hole. So that when I drill the holes, it's almost pulling this into the straight position. And if this warping is extensive, you might have to actually drill a hole in the middle just to make sure this thing is flush on the wall. Now what I do is I put the regular size bit on, and I can remove this screw which is just holding it in place, and all I do is I shift this to the side and then I drill the holes. Right, now you just put your plugs in. You might need to tap it with a hammer. Now just some tips. Okay, I've used a washer which allows me to make this quite tight, but if I didn't use a washer, don't make the screw too tight, the wood will just split. Remember, the screw is here really just so that this can hang. You're not trying to fasten this onto the wall tightly so that someone can't pull it off. This is too weak, this material is too weak. So really you don't have to make this too tight. Right, so there's the first method using the drill, and I'm going to do the remainder just using hammer and nails. Right, so now I'm going to do the nail method, and just make sure you've measured your area. Right, so I'll find the spot, Now, all I'm doing is I'm hitting a nail into the wall. I prefer to hit it into the cement rather than the brick. You can hit it into the brick, just make sure you've got very strong masonry nails. Note, I've moved the trellis away while I hit the nail there, just in case you miss and you hit the trellis, you might break the wood. Right, so there's the first nail. And if you have a look at the head, you can see that the head is holding the trellis in place. If you want to, you can use the washer, because you see what the washer does is it overlaps some of the wood. Now all I need to do is hit the other nail on the other side. If you want to use the washer, I'll show you what you do. You can just line up where you want to hit it into the wall. This is a masonry nail, so I can just hit it into the brick if I want to. Right, so there you can see the washer helps to hold the trellis up. Remember, we're now hanging the trellis. We're not fastening it to the wall. It's really just a hanging feature. A creeper can still grow on this trellis. It won't fall down, but the nail is just much quicker. Try and nail underneath the trellis just in case you want a creeper to go on the trellis. And as you can see, it won't fall down now. There's a nail on that side, also underneath the trellis. All right, so just check that it's straight, and this is not going anywhere. Look, even if I hit it, you can see it's strong. It's not going to fall off. Even if a creeper grows on it, it's not going to fall off. If you want to pre-drill holes and then put the nail through, that's also fine, but you will have to use a longer nail considering the thickness of the wood. Just make sure you use masonry nails that are really strong and that they should also be galvanized. Otherwise, when it rusts, you will see the dirt, whether it's nails or screws, you will see that they will have a line of rust. If you specifically want your nails to go through the wood and you don't want to nail it next to it, then what you can do is just drill a pilot hole. Right, I'm now going to demonstrate how to drill a pilot hole. Select a suitable spot. You can choose the corner. Just remember that there are some staples going through there. So if you don't want to choose the corner, you could choose just next to it. But in this case, I'm just going to choose the corner. And there you can see the nail goes right through. When you're doing this on a face brick wall, you might run into a challenge. If you have a look at the trellis, you can see that the individual partitions are not entirely straight, as well as the problem I'm having here is the face brick line is also not entirely straight, so you'll have to find a happy medium. It's best to stand back maybe 2 meters and then decide. As you can see, this trellis has got some partitions which are slightly bigger and some slightly smaller, and also the line of the brick on this particular line doesn't follow the horizontal exactly. If you're wondering which method is quicker, using the drill or using the nails is definitely quicker. However, it requires higher skill. And you might think that's weird considering the one uses a power tool such as a drill. But I can tell you that when you're working with nails, there are some challenges. Firstly, the head might just break off. Secondly, sometimes you hit a nail, it shoots out of the wall and it's like a flying bullet. Thirdly, nails sometimes bend when you're hitting into a brick. For example, some parts of a brick are very hard. Might be a stone in there, depends on the brick, and you might find that even a good masonry nail just bends. So you've got to pull out the nail and redo it. That's why I say if you're using the nail method, make sure you are comfortable and experienced at using those type of tools, hammer and nail. The drill is less challenging, but then obviously it's going to take much longer. Right, in this case, I've kept the same horizontal line throughout. So as you can see, the trellis gets closer and closer to the ground. And moving away from that side, you can see the trellis getting further and further from the ground. You'll have to make a decision in terms of what's most suitable in your installation. Right, so here's the finished product. And thanks for watching. Cheers.